What's going on? J.J.Simmons, you are watching Thou Shall Prosper. Listen, let's get into this part of like you said, I heard Bishop Jake said one day, how dare you put a period where God put a comma.
Come on.
Man, that was powerful.
Yeah.
So let's go to the comma side of you beside, the revelation of purpose. Sure. Let's talk about the business realm of Brother Wilkins.
Yeah.
What you have going on right now?
Well, one of my first businesses that I started was in 2000. This was the business that I really invested a lot of time in, and God blessed us tremendously to start that business.
2009?
2009.
Okay.
And that business now has grown. We've got partners in about 23 countries. The organization has about 20,000 people in it now. It continues to grow by thousands every year. We've generated in excess of $30 million from that book of business. And the great thing about it is it's introduced me to different races of people, nationalities. And so it brings you into environments where you have to be adaptable. So that 5-year or 6-year experience in Nigeria showed up in my business arena and allowed me to connect with different races of people, different religious backgrounds, different languages, and different cultures, and be embracive and not repellent. So business, business, I tell people all the time, business is all about supply and demand. Anything that can be bought can be turned into a business. Anything that can be sold can be turned into a business. The mentality of business is completely opposite that of the mentality of being an employee. And it has to do with training. If you look at most families, if mom and dad were educators, meaning they were teachers, son, daughter, that's typically the lane they fall into. If they were physicians, that's typically the lane they fall into. If they were criminals, that's the lane they fall into, because you can only be what you see.
That's right.
And so for me, both my parents were attorneys that were entrepreneurs. And so quite naturally, I fell into the business world. And so the business world, it's a great world to be in. You've got to be clear on what you're doing. You have to have complete assuredness and confidence in you, the person, because by the time you get into the business world circle, you get into this ring, you will get hit. And so you've just got to have the maturity and the mindset to be able to take the hit and keep on moving.
The emotional stability.
Yes.
Let me ask you this question. What was one of the greatest decisions you made while conducting business?
To latch onto a mentor. Somebody that understood business and had the results of it. The good book says, judge a tree by the fruit it bears,
Right.
not by its talent.
Correct.
There are a lot of talented people. The fruit.
The evidence.
What's the results?
Yeah.
What have been the results? Now, I tell people this too. Don't just look at only results, because even a broken watch is right twice a day. So a person can luck up into being at the right place at the right time and create tremendous results. But real results have to have success stories. True success must have success stories. So the fruit that I look for is not just, what you've accomplished financially. That's one thing that allows me to sit down with you in terms of someone that can pour into me. But what I'm really looking for in terms of success in business, what's your fruit?
Okay.
Who have you taught? Who have you mentored? Who have you coached? Who now has, and they don't even have to be in the same arena.
Who has duplicated?
Who has duplicated the principles you've taught them in business to create their own business? If you don't have that, your advice is just that, advice.
Jesus. So let me ask you this question. You said earlier being able to latch onto a mentor.
Yes.
But the mentor
Chooses you.
Right. So
Yes.
how did that happen?
You must submit yourself to be one that's worthy of being mentored. Meaning, you start with what you can do. Show your hunger.
Right.
Oh, hunger gets a mentor's attention, because that's what we're looking for. Are you hungry?
Right,
Meaning,
right.
are you showing up early and leaving late?
Right.
Not the reverse.
I had a guy the other day, a few weeks ago, a millionaire. This dude, he was sitting down. I just was in his shop one day. He bought some of my shirts wholesale, and we were just talking. He's in a whole nother realm that I'm in, but we friends.
Yes.
I would just go to his shop to hang out and talk to him, and we was at the Texas. He called me one morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning. And he said, I'm gonna pay for your table at the Texas Black Expo. I was like, no problem.
Okay.
And after the event, he said, you know what? He said, the other day when you came to my store, he said, I've been interviewing you since I met you. But in my mind, I had no idea because I was just coming, hanging out, asking questions, blah, blah, blah. And it blew my mind because in my mind, I was just being a real me. But he was interviewing me the whole time. Sure. And as he was studying me, it determined to him, you know what, I'm investing in this young man.
That's it.
So let me ask you this question. So after the mentor, what's some of the things that you knew with all your heart that you would have never accomplished without that mentor?
I give a lot of credit to mentorship.
Yes.
Yeah, because mentorship is the vehicle out of your place.
It's a bridge.
It is.
It's a bridge. You don't have to walk through the water if you have the information, the bridge to walk over the water.
There you go. I tell people all the time, mentorship is the shortcut.
Right, it is. I agree. I'm glad you say that because some people don't agree to that, but I just, you know, it's crazy, but it really is.
Yeah, I mean,
so what's some of the shortcuts that you know?
It takes the guesswork out of it.
Right.
I tell people all the time,
Right.
You don't have to know how to draw success, learn how to trace it.
Wow.
A mentor allows you to know how to trace it. If you want to get to your future, hang around it.
Right.
Your mentor is your future.
Right.
So you hang around the mentor. You learn what they know. Learn not only what they know, but what they do and what they don't do. Also, it's more important than what they don't say than what they do say.
Right. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
And you got to be paying attention. But you know why most people don't believe in mentorship? Ego.
Right, correct.
Their
Let me
egos-
say this. Let me
yes.
say this right quick. It's a story in the Bible where the disciples came to Jesus and said, "Explain this parable."
Yeah.
But it blew me one day. I was preaching about that, and I said it's crazy how people say don't question God, but the disciples always had a question.
Oh.
And he would have never explained the parable if they would have never asked him. We would have never known because he explained the parable of the sower and the parable of the wheat and the tares. He would have never explained that unless a question was asked.
Yes.
It's crazy, like you said, it's more about what they don't say than what they do say.
Most people misinterpret that. He said, what he's saying is don't question his will, but always question the way.
Right.
So I need to get clarity.
Every time somebody did ask a question in the Bible, he answered it.
Always. Oh, because he was a teacher.
Right.
A teacher answers questions.
So let me ask you this. So right now, what is it that you're doing right now in business?
A couple things. We still have our first company, and it's tremendously growing, and God has blessed us, and we continue to run that business. We've recently started to take more clients in terms of coaching clients that we teach and train entrepreneurs and people that are looking to become entrepreneurs. The various things they need to set up from a promotion standpoint, from a packaging standpoint, marketing and branding, what business, what arena to be in, because you can be in a good business, but it not be the right business.
Right.
These are two different concepts. Right has everything to do with your purpose. So we teach people these types of things because one of the worst things to do is climb up the ladder of success and then finally realize it was leaning against the wrong wall.
Okay.
So we help people with that. So that's a part of our coaching that we have under our Wilkins leadership group, speaking and training business. And of course, we travel all around the globe now, training and speaking, whether it's in churches or synagogues or mosques, it does not matter where
Really?
it is. Absolutely.
You spoke in
Oh yeah, we're
in
getting
mosques?
invitations. Yes,
Seriously?
absolutely. Yes.
Wow.
It's
So you're following in the steps of your mentor.
It came on with me like a cloak.
Man, you serious?
Absolutely.
In mosques?
You got to remember, Nigeria, the country is Islam. It's Islamic. It's an Islamic faith. And so those upbringings have allowed me to be flexible. I tell people you have to have the nimbleness of mind. You have to have the liquidity of thought to be effective in this world because we're dealing with change, competition, and complexity in business. So you've got to be able to move around. Like wheat, you're supposed to be able to influence the world. That's why Paul said, be in the world, but not of it. In it means you're influencing it, you're impacting it, and so my global vision is to influence and impact the world. Now, the world is different from the earth.
Right.
The earth is what we have dominion over. That's the planet. The world is the systems, the controlling systems. Yes, so now you gotta break down what those systems are. What are the controlling systems? Well, the economic system is one. So if you're not in business, you're not even in. How can you influence something that you're not in? You got to get in business to influence business, right? Because you're either at the table or on the menu.
At the table or on the menu.
One of the two. So you got to influence business. So you got your economic system, you have your healthcare system, educational system, political system, government systems. These are all systems that you and I are supposed to influence. Now, here's the greatest tragedy with the church.
Okay.
They want to separate themselves from the world.
Right.
When the scripture says be in it.
Correct.
So now, when laws get passed or things happen, oh, well, we just gonna pray. I think Rosa Parks got tired of just praying. I think she one day decided, you know what, I'm gonna do something.
Right.
Dr. King,
Right.
he could have stayed in the Baptist pulpit and just preached. I think he got tired of just preaching
Right.
and went to influence a system.
So what are you doing today to influence?
What I'm doing today right now.
Speaking?
Speaking is one of them. That's just an avenue. But what I really do, like I said earlier, is I distribute ideas. Because words are seed. Somebody's going to hear this
Right.
and have an encounter with themselves, just like I did years ago. I distribute ideas that really people sometimes have never thought about. They've never really had a level of teaching that's not only deep, but one that's true and simple to comprehend, because the easiest truths are those that are right there before you. I think Albert Einstein said it best. He says, the thinking that has brought you this far has created some problems that your current thinking cannot solve.
Say that again?
The thinking that has brought you this far has created some problems that your current thinking cannot solve.
Right.
So in other words, somebody has to come that has a higher thought level than you right now to distribute an idea.
Right.
Words are seed. Everything in the world is a word.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna sit up here and act like I understood everything that was said. I'm gonna have to watch this part of the video again and really catch the depth of that. So, okay, last question.
Okay.
If you can tell the entrepreneur that's watching today, or just the person, not just the entrepreneur, but just what would you tell them that they can have a greater level of clarity and influence in business today, right now?
One of the biggest things that I would say is learn you. Take time to discover you. Find out that question. I mean, there are 5 questions that trouble and really arrest the human heart. The first question is, who am I? Most people you ask, JJ, who are you? They tell you their name. I didn't say what your name is. Who are you? And I often tell people this when I ask that question. And I'm going to ask you to do the same thing that I asked them to do. Point to yourself. Point to yourself. Everybody always points here.
Okay.
You know why you point here? That's the real you.
Right.
The essence of who you are is here. So you got to go within here. And that takes time away from everything and everybody else.
You know what, let me say this. When you discover the real you, you don't
Yes.
waste your time on things that don't have nothing to do with you. Like right now, I tell people this all the time. You know, I don't run into carpenters on the street. You know, because I'm not connected to that. You know, and the thing is that when you don't know the real you, you'll waste your time on anything.
That's true.
So the next thing, what would you tell them?
That's the first question, discover who am I? Second question that people have is, why am I here? Why am I here at this time in the world system? Why did God send me here? Because scientists have proven that over 400,000 sperm are released to chase an egg. So you won the first race, 1 out of 400,000. So you're not accident. Sincerely. And this doesn't just relegate, and it's not information just for the artistic people that sing and people that dance. And no, this is for all of us. Why are you here? Third question, what can I do? So the first question has to do with identity. Second question has to do with purpose. Third question has to do with your potential. God is potential. Potent. Omnipotent. He's always full of potential. So what can you do? What comes easiest to do and easiest for you to do and harder for most people to do? What will you be willing to do for 30, 40, 50, 25, 250 years and not get paid $1 single to do it? How can you be of service doing that thing? That leads you down the path.
So you really believe that whatever somebody's willing to invest their life in and not get paid for it, that's connected?
That's the only way you'll succeed, because it's 10,000 hours. You will not put in the required 10,000 hours to master anything that you have to get paid for.
Right, because it's really a part of you.
That's why the basketball players, look at Kobe Bryant. He's practicing while you're playing.
Right.
But they've been doing that since they were 5.
Right.
You follow me?
I follow.
And that's everything. I mean, the engineer to the guy that works on taxes, to the gal that does hair, to the singers, the entertainers. They can always go back to when they're 5, 6 years old, and they'll see them doing the same thing they do now back then. People are amazed at Steph Curry. Oh my gosh, he's the greatest shooter in the NBA. Yeah, but he shoots 500 practice shots a day and been doing this for the last 15 years when you didn't know his name. See, you always be promoted publicly for what you practice on privately. So what can I do? Number 4, where am I going? This has to do with destiny. This has to do with vision. You got to know where you're going, because if you don't know where you're going, you connect to anybody. And who you're connected to takes you somewhere. That's why Jesus said, if the blind lead the blind, go in the ditch. That's a leadership principle. And so those 4 questions there really help a person. Who am I? Why am I here? What can I do? Where am I going?
Okay, you have mentorship with me. You say you have the Wilkins.
Yes.
Give them your website.
Go to JarrodWilkins.com. That's www.JarrodWilkins, WILKINS.com. Or find me on Facebook, Jarrod Wilkins, or Instagram, or go to YouTube. I've got a lot of free training. I mean, we've had tens of thousands of people watch them. And it's just been a blessing to be able to give that out for free. So you can go to YouTube, type in Jarrod Wilkins, and I've got so many trainings for business people.
How you feel about free?
I feel great about free.
You feel great about
free? You sow free seeds. Yeah, you sow sparingly, you'll reap sparingly. So I believe in abundance of giving because big livers are big givers.
Right.
So we give it away for free, and if it's real, and if it's valuable. I've now discovered why my phone rings.
Why?
When you discover why your phone rings, then you can charge for it.
Wow, that's good. I like that. Listen, we out of here. I'm J.J.Simmons. You are watching Thou Shalt Prosper. Thank you so much for this interview,
pleasure,
brother.
brother.
I think that was hot right there. Hold up. Repeat it one more time. When you discover why your phone rings, then you can charge for it.
Then you can charge for it.
Wow. So if your phone...
And I learned that from a guy named Delatoro McNeil. So if he's watching this, I gave you credit, brother.
Amen.